Good morning, everyone. We are going to get started. If we could do the roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Baxter,
Here.
Commissioner Flores, Mayor Marino, Commissioner Powell, Commissioner Sachs, Commissioner Weiss,
Here.
Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Dan, if we could do the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of course. We ask you, God, to bless this meeting of people who earnestly desire to do their work in the best possible way, to benefit those we serve, and to leave to our children a better world. Please give us the wisdom and vision to plan adequately and act correctly to achieve these ends. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
We do not.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the minutes from August 20th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 7-0. Excuse me. 5-0. Not yet. We also need a motion to approve the Citizen Advisory Committee, or you need to receive and file. So for A and B, if we could do them both at once.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? See that that motion carries 6-0. Consent agenda. We do have one card.
Alex Larson.
My husband was a landscaper. He always came up with unique tricks to deal with the yards that he had to deal with, because down in Broward, there was always native vegetation and then non-native vegetation. And one of the things that he used, and I'm just giving the company an idea, vinegar. He would do it at the base, and it would kill some of the most evil weeds that you could ever imagine, and still the tree would live. You know, the tree would survive, and the non-native vegetation would die. And it's a cheap date. Vinegar's not a lot of money, and it's a damn good try, because it gets rid of two really icky invasives that we have. And I just thought you might want to give them an idea while you're hiring them, talking to them, meeting with them, because I think it'd be easy for you to buy cases of vinegar cheap at Amazon or someplace. And hopefully you'll try to give it a try. That way the guys aren't in there. Sometimes they got to physically, but the vinegar does do a really good job on stuff, because I have a neighbor who plants all kinds of stuff you would never want in your life. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve the consent.
I'll make a motion to approve consent.
We have a first from Mayor Marino, a second from Commissioner Woodward. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 6-0. Moving on, matters by the public.
We have two cards, Linda Smith and Alex Larson.
I apologize. Linda Smith, Jupiter, Florida, Sierra Club, Loxahatchee Group. General comments on the incinerator number 2, Ref 2, for their operating permit. There's a lot of discussion about how it is continually monitored. You might have different statistics than I, and I will vouch for that, but sulfur dioxide is continuous, nitric oxide is continuous, carbon monoxide is continuous. Particulate matter is annually. Carbon dioxide, optional, must monitor CO2 or oxygen continuously. Ammonia, annually. Dioxins and furans, 1 burner per year, each burner each every 3 years. polychlorinated biphenyls, and I can't pronounce some of these, never perpolyphoromycalum, never polyaromatic hydrocarbons, never volatile organic compounds, annually hydraulic acid, annually, you get the idea. I guess my question is, does Palm Beach County monitor more than the Title V operating permit? And my other point is, does the existing Ref 2, is it among some of the highest industrial air polluters? And I have some numbers that says for greenhouse gases, yes, it's lower than Florida Power and Light. It's less than the landfill. But then it's like next. Ammonia, it's after Florida Power and Light, and then it's next. Cadmium, it's after Reef 1, but it's next. Hydrochloric acid, it's like at the top. Lead, there are a couple different airports, all the airports basically. New Hope Power Company, I don't even know who they are. Osceola Farms, sugarcane growers, okay. And then it's Reef 2. Mercury, it's at the top. Nitrogen oxide, it's after sugarcane growers, New Hope Power Company, FPL, Osceola Farms, and there it is. Sulfur dioxide, it beats the sugarcane. Carbon monoxide, yeah, sugarcane is top, Osceola Farms. I mean, okay, after the airports, but it's there. And I think you get my point. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
I have information if anyone wants it.
Can I just interrupt before the next one? I've gotten news that there's no audio on the Channel 20. So can we check that? They're saying there.
Thank you. You good? Do we have any more matters by the public? Cards.
Me, I'm so sorry. But when I deal with DEP and all the acronyms, this body went after the EPA because they didn't want them to change the rules or lower the rules where it'd be a little bit safer for us to breathe. We've got 2 power plants. We got the biggest power plant in the world sitting out there at 20 Mile Bend. When you see the black cloud, they're burning oil, and it isn't Crisco, because Crisco doesn't put black stuff in the air. We've got this nightmare. I mean, why Palm Beach County? You have one of the richest, most beautiful counties in the United States, and we just keep mucking it up. How much more can we put into the air? During the full moons, you get to see 3 of them a year if you're lucky, because there's clouds and waste sitting right here. Because the EPA and DEP, they don't factor in humidity. What does Florida have by the gazillions? Humidity. Every month. We have 1 cool month a year if we're lucky where we have no humidity. But how could you, when you're giving out a permit, not factor in humidity? Because it makes it stay here. It doesn't dissipate. It doesn't go away. It's not rocket science. None of the stuff that I read is rocket science. It really isn't. But we do not need new sources of pollution. When we built this last one, we weren't supposed to build it. We didn't need it for 8 years. You can go back and watch the meetings, commissioners. Go back and watch them yourselves. You go hear what people said, you know? And I did. I lived through it. I was sitting here and I die every day. Because it's ridiculous. We shouldn't have to breathe in stuff. This last week, I lost a really dear friend who lived right down the street. Her name was Carol Strick. She was an environmentalist. She worked with the women in prisons. She was an incredible lady. She also was running the Metropolitan Museum of Art. She kind of had a brain. She was a great person. She's dead. She died of pneumonia because probably the cilia in her lungs was breathing in all the crap that comes out of the incinerators and everything else in this county. Because I'll have friends call me from Singer Island and say, "What's that black cloud?" Well, how close is it? Well, it'll be the incinerator or the power plant. And that covers a lot of territory. And we're burning sugar cane 6 months of the year. And that's not the Solid Waste Authority's fault. That's everybody's fault. Because it's black, horrible stuff that we're breathing into our lungs. Years ago when I moved here, the guy was spraying 2,4-D, which is Agent Orange, you know? So we've got a lot of chemicals coming at us. Barium in the C51. I didn't understand that one at all. I was like, where did it come from? Are they doing x-rays in the C51? But anyway, please think long and hard before you do this stuff because it's our kids' future. And I don't even have any kids. I don't have grandkids. I ain't leaving nobody
you,
except
Ms.
nurses.
Larson.
But think about yours.
No more cards?
Not on this.
Thank you. Says we have no,
I would like to respond, but I think maybe we'll just reserve it until 9E1 when we actually get to this issue.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Dan. No public hearing or workshop items for today. Old business,
None.
says we have none, and new business.
So new business, I'm changing my glasses here. New business, at the last board meeting, at the end of the last board meeting, there was discussion about the board seeking notification about procurements that were going out on the street. I've spoken to all of you individually, and I think you know that my primary concern is the fact that we only meet every other month, not every other week like the county does. So my ask is, I'm just going to get right to what my ask is, just to save time, is that we limit the notification to construction and professional services contracts over $50,000 and take out commodities and trade services and smaller contracts.
I
I'll
think,
make that motion.
have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 6-0.
982. Byron Lassiter was a member of the CAC, the Citizens Advisory Committee, for 39 years. I've been here for 34. Every CAC meeting I've ever gone to, Byron has been here. Byron unfortunately passed a little while back, and we would just like to honor his memory and his commitment to the Solid Waste Authority with a small token of appreciation and a resolution in his honor. I'm going to read the caption of the resolution just to get it on the record. A resolution of the Solid Waste Authority Board and Citizens Advisory Committee of Palm Beach County commending Byron Lassiter for his service as a member of the committee and expressing sincere appreciation for his dedication. His wife Peggy is here. We'd like to invite her up. We have a nice plaque that we would like to give her, and if I could invite the chair down for a photograph, that would be great.
That'd be great.
I would like to move this.
All in, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 6-0. Did you want to say anything else, Dan?
No, I just, it's just very rare that you have someone that dedicated and committed to spend that much time on an advisory board. It takes a lot to put that on your schedule and to work your life around that meeting all the time. And Byron was always a pleasure to be around. He was always one who was not shy about expressing his opinion about what was on the agenda, and it was always appreciated. So thank you for giving us the time with Byron that we had.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to number 3.
So 9A3 is, as you are aware, after 34 years, I've notified the board of my intention to retire at the end of this year on December 23rd. It's my 62nd birthday. I came here as a 27-year-old with a nice full head of dark hair, and here I am today. But, you know, I'm probably going to be here for another board meeting. I'm not going to go on, but I just really want to thank all the board members I've had over the years for their support. And obviously the best staff on the planet. I think we run a pretty terrific organization here. We're world-renowned, and I'm confident that we'll continue to do that into the future. But with that, the board needs to establish a process for selecting the next executive director, and we're here to take input. It's my recommendation, as it has been with all previous executive directors, that the board first look within. This is a unique organization. We're the only special district in the state that's assumed the responsibility of the county when it comes to solid waste management. Our financing is unique. Our assessment is unique. And for that reason, that's my recommendation. But I'm here to support you in whatever it is you decide to do.
Commissioner Weiss?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I just want to thank you, Dan, for your years of service to the Solid Waste Authority, the job you have done. While I've been on this board, this place runs amazing, just amazing. Always getting the job done, making sure our constituents are taken care of, whether it's through a storm or a tornado or whatever has hit this community. You guys are always there making sure everything is taken care of, and you do it in a professional way. So that speaks to leadership, and that speaks to your leadership. So I just want to thank you. And I want to thank the rest of the staff, because I know it's all of you pulling together to make this all happen. With that, though, and I think maybe my colleagues may be surprised, but I agree. I think the special type of work that goes on here in understanding this system, I would agree that we look inside first. If we cannot find a suitable candidate, then we go to look outside.
Do we need a motion to do this, Dan, or do you just want direction?
Yeah, I think you need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
On 9A3, we have one card before we vote.
Alex Larson.
The girls were afraid that I put in the card. You don't have to be afraid, Dan. You've been great. I know throughout, I think I've known you most of the 34 years, sadly, but whenever you deal with the Solid Waste Authority, you deal with really professional people. They're really kind. I always have stupid questions, and I always premise it. I have a stupid question. And and they will answer it and get it done. And everybody's always been really good. I think we've had 4 leaders while I've been around, and each one has had their own unique personality, but you've always been very kind to us. Whenever I've called, you've handled things nicely. And I wanted to thank you for that. And I hope whoever fills in that seat will continue it, because each leader has had their own unique problems, storms, hurt, all kinds of stuff. Whatever we deal with, it's always unique here in Palm Beach County. So hopefully the commissioners will give you a nice send-off, a party, something. And so you're here till December 23rd. We'll remember it's your birthday. There'll be flaming candles everywhere, because we don't know how old you are, but we'll make sure it's really good. But I just wanted to thank you, because I've had to deal with you 1,000 times, and I'm sure you hated every minute of it.
No, I
But
didn't.
we tried. We tried to do it, and it is. The way, when you look at the different divisions of our county, Solid Waste Authority, they do give it a damn good try all the time. So thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Commissioner Flores.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Let me reset this. Okay, good. I've been lacking on my duties today, so I apologize. I am going to differ from Commissioner Weiss's comments. I firmly believe that we should go out into a competitive process for the executive director. I think we owe that to the residents of Palm Beach County. Although I firmly believe that probably internally the candidates are going to rise to the top because they know the inner workings of this organization. So I just, for transparency, I would like it to be open to at large. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Dan, thank you for the work that you've done so far. And I had a question. When I arrived here, you indicated that the position that you held previously, you had not filled that slot. Is that still the case?
I believe I still have a vacant position. We have two managing directors now. I was the managing director. So when I hired in, I did not fill the position that I previously occupied. So I believe it's still there, yes.
So I guess my question is, there's no gap in terms of elevation to leadership?
There is not.
Okay. I appreciate all the work you've done in keeping this organization afloat and steady. I want to echo Commissioner Flores' sentiments. Just make sure that we are above board and we're completely transparent in terms of opening the process up. We did it for the administrator. We're doing it for the county attorney. And on this board, I think we should probably do the same thing. Thank you.
Commissioner Woodward, would you like to chime in on whether you'd like to keep this internal or go beyond?
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor, or Chair, sorry. No, I see this as a slightly different position. It's more of a utility. And I think for us to have continuity, to a real understanding of the current operations, I'm perfectly fine with us looking internal to begin. And if we find that person within, great. And then if not, if the board decides, maybe we should go out after. But this is a utility as I see it. And I think that we should look within.
I like the idea of being internal because I think it's so unique. The Solid Waste Authority has a very unique job and understanding. So I don't know that I would want to put that in the hands of somebody who wasn't intimately familiar with this particular organization. I do understand and echo the sentiment of wanting to look outside because there are other waste authorities that do exist. But more so, I think if we have really good candidates here, why? I also wouldn't want to waste other people's time. So, Dan, you speak with your staff. Do you have people interested in potentially applying for the job?
I believe so, yes. I do. I know that there are.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how many are going to apply. I think if the board goes in that direction, I think it's a decision of sending applications and cover letters and scheduling interviews with each of you to determine, which candidate you're most comfortable with, if any of them.
Mm-hmm.
We can either do that through our HR department, have those applications come to HR and then to you. If we were going to go outside at some point, then I would recommend that county HR handle that. Because I think you're more equipped to do it and you've done it in some recent major situations as well.
You've answered my question as far as which way I'm leaning, because we only meet once every other month, and to try to keep this simplistic and not involve, make this very complicated, and we have good internal candidates, I think I side on wanting to keep it internal and here. And then if we feel we don't like those candidates, we always have the option later to say, hey, let's go out wider and make it, but you're only here another 8 weeks or so?
That's right. The board could obviously nominate an interim, but if it's coming down to a couple of weeks here and there and you're more comfortable, I'm still flexible in that regard.
I appreciate that.
It's not a hard deadline. I'm not going to burst into flames on December 23rd. Just the candles.
So yes, I believe I would like to at least start internally before we explore external options. Do you need that motion?
I think you have a motion and a second.
Second.
So
And I have Commissioner Flores, excuse me.
So what happens if we only get one applicant? Who are we comparing it to? How are we benchmarking? How are we? I don't know. I have a hard time with this, not being open and transparent. I think we owe it to our community to bring the best talent to Palm Beach County. And if it's internally, by all means, we will select that person. But to go out there and just do internal, we may get one, maybe two. I don't know that we're doing right by the county. And if historically we have promoted from within, how do we know if what we're doing? And by the way, I'm not saying that we are not state-of-the-art facilities here. I think we are, and we lead the way in a lot of it. But how do we know we're not bringing in newer ideas or the best of the best? So, to me, I think when you have a competitive process and you are able to hear different candidates, you're able to gauge the quality of the candidate. So that's where I stand. I'm not going to make any more comments. And if it's the will of this board to look internally first, I'll go along with it.
Commissioner Weiss? Or
Yeah.
excuse me, yes, Commissioner Weiss, and then Commissioner Powell.
So I just was going to ask Mr. Pelowitz, how many facilities in the country are similar to this?
the only one I would say is similar would be Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. We've got they've got waste energy, 2 waste energy plants. We've got 2 waste energy plants. They've got solid recycling programs. We do as well. That's pretty much the only one. You know, I think that when you look at the performance of this organization, and I'm going to tout the organization and you compare it to the large counties to the south of us, I think clearly this organization is the standard. It's the standard because of the way we were constituted. It's the standard because of the way we're funded. It's the standard because of our commitment to using the best available technologies, and we employ all of them. So all I can tell you is this, is that if you look at some of the top people in this organization, some of them are sitting right in front of you at that table. If they put their application in anywhere in this country to do what they do here, they'd be at the top of the list easily. So I'm not saying that just to be nice. I'm just telling you that that's the case. So clearly.
Thank you, and I appreciate that and rely on your counsel, so I appreciate that.
Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to echo your sentiments, if someone internal, if their application is the best, of course they would rise to the top. What's interesting to me is the level, and I've only been a county commissioner for a short time, but I've been a part of government, been elected for over a decade. When we talk about consistency, the idea that when we speak of consistency, there have been times where I've heard people say when it's a high-level executive position and it's been consistent, we should hire headhunting firms or we should go out, cast a broad net. And to now hear the opposite is, to me, I don't know, I'm trying to catch the words. It's rather interesting. I do believe in the idea that if you keep the wheel rolling, in the book From Good to Great, it talks about keeping the same people on the bus and leadership being consistent, and a lot of times the internal candidates are the best candidate. But to hear people consistently this year, where we've had large organizations that have had changes in leadership, say that we should, go out, get headhunter firms, cast a wide net, make it open to the public, to shift in a particular instance, because this is a utility. I understand that. But it's not the only utility. This is not the only place where people have cutting edge technology. We're in an age of information where there's a lot of information at the tip of our fingers. To change, to drastically change from one process to the next, I'm still searching for the words. It's interesting, but it's challenging, because in one instance we'll say we want to grab everybody. We want to make sure that we're getting the best of the best. We want to go out and make sure we have the best candidates available. Then another instance, well, this is a unique organization, which is understandable, but we want to narrow the pool of candidates. I want to err on the side of, I believe that the best candidate is likely already within the organization. But like Commissioner Flores, how do you know if you haven't cast that wide net? So in the same instance, and in the same, I'll echo the words of what has been said in the past. I'm not necessarily looking for a headhunter firm, but I mean, we've said, let's put it out to FAC, let's put it out to NACO, well, what makes this any different? It's just, it's interesting to me how quickly and how inconsistent voices can be. So with that being said, I'm gonna err on the side of let's still make it open. If the best person is already here internally, then they will rise to the top, Mr. Pelowitz, and he or she will be the next director. If not, then we've made it available and transparent to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Please let the record reflect that Commissioner Sachs is here. Commissioner Sachs, we are discussing the hiring process for a new administrator for this board. Would you like to weigh in on whether you would like to see it done internally first and then going external, or would you just like to start with a big external search?
Well, thank you very much, and I apologize for being late. There's a new fire truck out there that is state-of-the-art, and it's interesting how the firefighters have these traditions. When they have a new fire truck, they've got to pour water from the old fire truck to the new fire truck. Now, being a woman, I'd never do anything like that. I'd want all fresh water, but I was out there because it was in my district, and I was very excited about it, and so I appreciate you giving me a few minutes to attend that and now be here. I haven't heard all the argument, but I will say that we may have the next Dan Pelowitz sitting right here in our midst. It could be someone from our staff. We have excellent staff in the Solid Waste Authority. Or it could be someone who serves on one of the committees that serves the people here for the Solid Waste Authority. But I do have always thought, and my philosophy is always cast a wide net and let's see what's out there. This is a jewel. This Solid Waste Authority has been run by Mr. Pelowitz, and it is a jewel. And whoever will, take over as head will take over as one of the finest facilities in the country. So I would be in favor. And again, I haven't heard from all of my colleagues. I did hear from Commissioner Powell, and I like the idea of casting a wide net. And then the best person may be right here sitting in front of us, or maybe on one of our citizens advisory boards, or it may be someone from another state or city or municipality that wants to be part and lead Palm Beach County Solid Waste Authority. So that would be my impression on that. And thank you for allowing me to be a little late today. Thank you.
Dan, how do you see the process going if we did send this out further than just an internal hiring process?
Well, I mean, I think, I think you'd advertise like you normally would advertise. I think that obviously having our HR department do it seems a little, you know, there's probably a little conflict there, because I'm not saying that they would have a preference, but I think it's better and more hands-off if the county's HR would handle the recruitment process and receive the resumes. At that point, it would be up to you as a board to shortlist and determine who you want to speak to. The issue there is this all has to be done in sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be done in the public. So I don't know, we probably have to schedule a special meeting sometime maybe in November for the board to basically come forward and shortlist the firms, each of the individuals, each one of you, and as a collective decide who you want to interview.
Would we have to do that either way, or just if we went outside?
Well, I mean, if it was internal, what would happen is our HR department would receive the resumes, those from the interested parties.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would forward those to you, and I would have Buffy schedule the interviews with you individually so that you have the ability to meet with everyone who's interested. So.
I would like to hear the will of the board. For those who would like external applicants, do you want to have another meeting in November to get this done? Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wouldn't mind another meeting in November if we had to. This is important, so I'm okay. I'm here to work.
I second that, especially when it's he's here to work.
I agree.
Then I will agree with my colleagues that we should at least give external applicants the opportunity. I do think we will end up ultimately going with someone inside. And I have more lights before I continue my thoughts, but looks like Mayor Marino.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Pelowitz, can you tell us what the process was for you and for those that came before you?
For me and those before, they were all internal. I believe when I applied back in 2018, I think there were 3 applications that were received by the board. The board reviewed them, and then at the board meeting, I believe it was in June of 2018, the board appointed me. So it was an internal process. Resumes went downtown, and the board members came and prepared to select who they wanted to be the next executive director.
And while this is a utility, what we did for the administrator, we did not hire a search firm for the administrator. So for everyone to say that we went big, we did not. We used the local organizations. We used our trade organizations to help get the word out, but we did not hire a search firm for our county administrator. So if there is a similar process for this, where you have a trade organization that you all are members of, that gets information out, that I would see that as being the equivalent of what we did with the county administrator. I'm still comfortable with hiring internally, as that is what the process has been here, but I will go with the will of the board. But again, we did not hire an executive search firm for the county administrator. We used our trade association, the Florida Association of Counties and the National Association of Counties, to help us with the search. And so I just want, if we're sitting here and we're trying to come up with thoughts, I just want to put that out there. Thank you.
Commissioner Woodward?
Thank you, Chair. I have a couple of questions. If we do decide to send this out wide, so to speak, as we did before, what we did before was we ended up having to come up with a full job description. We had to have minimum requirements. We learned about equivalent positions to peer organizations, peer counties. We had a salary range. We needed to know, was there state versus federal regulations? There was a litany of things that we had to accomplish before we could go wide. And so my question right now is, and that was not something that we were able to do on the fly. We had to have several meetings with HR to bring us back information. And we all had lengthy discussions on all of this. So I'm a little confused with what we're asking to do right now with this November meeting. When are we going to accomplish all of this stuff? If we are going to go wide nationally, because apparently we have peer organizations throughout the country, if we're going to do this wide, we have a lot of work to do on all of these things before we can advertise on a national basis. So when do we do that?
Well, I can tell you we do have a job description for the executive director. It hasn't been looked at in a while, but it can certainly be updated pretty quickly. The timeline is tight, and I can tell you that, my HR department can probably kick this out in a couple of days, because I work with them all the time, and I'm not saying anything about county HR. I don't know what their processes are, and I don't want to put anything on them without them at least talking to them about their ability and their timelines and what the workload they have is right now. So if you want to speed this up, then our HR department probably is the likely one to do it.
Well,
We would
if I
meet-
could, Mr. Pelowitz, it's not just about how quickly your department can do it, but how quickly we all can reconvene and have the discussion on, do we agree on the job description, the minimum requirements, the salary range, all of those things, which is what
Okay.
we had to have a number of special meetings ourselves. So, and I don't know that one will do it in a couple of days of notice with this
No,
information.
you're probably right.
I mean, it's not, there's, even to get all of us scheduled again quickly, I'm just trying to get through the logistics and the reality of what the potential of this going national actually looks like.
Well, I agree with you thinking about it, that it probably will take longer than 2 months. Obviously, if the board wants to meet, discuss the job description and the pay ranges, that's another meeting to do that before we even put it out. All I can tell you is the way it worked the last time is, the board selected me, and then I worked with general counsel on the contract, and the contract was brought back to the board, and it happened very quickly. What we're talking about here, if you're going broader, I mean, I think you're probably looking at the February meeting before you would be able to actually select the next executive director. It would not happen in December under those circumstances, which would mean you'd likely have to, select an interim or someone to just, take the role for a short period of time. I'm gonna defer to you on that, because you've just been through 2 big selections, and you know better how to do that in a level position like this than I do, because I've never done it. I'd like to be more help, as I always try to be, but this is new ground for me.
Thank you, Dan. Commissioner Weiss?
Thank you. If it's the will of the board that we're going to cast a wider net, and just as, then I would think that with something this specialized, you are going to need professional help. We're looking at professional help to get our next county attorney. I think we're going to need professional help. And the unwillingness in the past to not want to hire somebody, which I don't understand, because we don't pay them unless they find us the candidate, but so be it. But that's reality, and I think it would make sense if you're going to cast a net. You're going to need somebody with very specific skill sets, and I don't know that they're necessarily looking for jobs, and that people are going to have to do that. And we also are going to need to do some kind of a salary.
Range?
Well, no, we're going to need to do a survey of salaries to understand what other, because you're looking now to try and bring people from other jurisdictions as to what they're paying. So I think there, as to Commissioner Woodward's point, it's going to take us a bit longer, and I think that that there is when we hired our county administrator, we were not able to interview anybody from outside Palm Beach County. All external candidates did not want to come. I think, if anybody has watched this meeting and if they're looking at, considering putting in their application, as you know, it is public. And you've heard folks expressing their desire to want to look internally. I'm not sure how that's going to play. So I just put that out there.
Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think that's listening to the conversation of the board, I think that's the brilliance of this board. Everyone has great ideas and different opinions, and just listening to what has been said just comprehensively gives us a better understanding of how this process should work. Just to reiterate what Commissioner Marino indicated, she's right. We did not use a search firm, but we did discuss that. So the conversation, you tell it again, and she reiterated point by point that we did not use a search firm, which is correct. But the conversation was brought up. We did use professional boards that we had sent it to entities that would advertise. And I would think that we would want to do the same thing here. Commissioner Wise indicated that external candidates, for the other process, external candidates did not apply. Well, applied, but they didn't come to the interview process. That might be the same thing that happens here. We don't know if we are not consistent as we've been in the past. That may exactly be the same thing. Commissioner Woodward, you indicated that we need more time. Well, the good thing is we can work together. We can do this. One thing about this board and one thing about all of us as professionals, we have been able to work together to really GTJD, get the job done. And I know that we can do it. We'll work together and we'll make it happen. And we will make sure that we have the best candidate, because together as a board, we've been able to work together to make sure that we have, in the past and now, gotten the best candidate. As indicated by Commissioner Marino, in the past, the candidates for this position have all been internal. I would also put that on a parallel with the other positions that we've advertised for and we've worked for. In the past, those have also been internal. The county administrator, as we said, as the commission, has been internal in the past. So has the county attorney in the past. And more than likely, if we continue to work and we do the best for the constituents who we serve, we'll always get the best candidate, whether that's internal or not. And sometimes, many times, I do believe that the best candidates are internal, but you don't know if you don't provide that opportunity for individuals to apply. This is a specialized process. There may not be a lot of people who apply to run a utility. There's not people all over the state of Florida that have these skill sets. So you may get 2 applications, you may get 10, but you don't know. You may not get any, right? But you don't know if you do not provide that opportunity. So I think that the board has said some things that give us a comprehensive look at how we want to approach this. And what I know about this board and what I know about this team is when we work together, we can get it done. Thank you.
Commissioner Flores?
First of all, I think having this conversation is great. I respect everybody's opinion, everybody's input. I think Commissioner Woodward made some great points regarding the process and the application. I will say I'm a little surprised that when we're seeking direction, we don't have any backup material or any of the additional stuff to look at today. I mean, we're here. This would have been the perfect time to look at job description, discuss it, to have salary ranges and things like that. Those are things that could have possibly been hashed out today. But I guess we were just trying to see which route we were going today. As we're looking at timing and moving forward, my question would be either to the legal team or to the executive director. Could we perhaps do the next meeting at the county commission chambers, meaning we adjourn our meetings there and then we reconvene as the SWA board to hash out some of these finer points, not a full agenda. We would advertise like we do for SWA. I'm just asking, could that possibly be done so that we don't have to come all the way here just to have a separate meeting, and maybe we could do it at one of our workshops or something like that? Could that be a possibility?
Yes, that can be done. We've done it in the past. We're also on the agenda for the board's reorganization meeting in November. I don't know what date that is, but that's the exact process. What's the date? The 18th of November. So you convene as the county, you recess, and then you convene as the Solid Waste Authority for the reorganization, and then you adjourn, and then you go back to county business. So this would require adding an item onto that agenda to include the reorganization, which is the selection of the new chair of the authority, and then a discussion of the path forward. That we've done it before, and you could do it at another meeting as well. Again, that was always take coordination between the authority staff and the county's agenda staff and the county administrator to do that.
Okay, so it seems like there's possibilities to work some of these finer points out over the next month.
There are, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Marino.
Thank you. Mr. Pelowitz, you have an HR department that hires and advertises. Can you tell us that process? Because I know you've hired executive level folks with your HR department.
Sure. So
What is their process?
it's basically the same as anybody's. We use NeoGov, which is a HR platform. We go out through the basic. It goes out through those same internet folks that get the application. So we advertise all the time. We do it through there. We also have the ability to target to the Solid Waste Association of North America, to SWANA, and typically with financial positions, we'll go to GFOA, or and we've also have been able to go to the Florida Association of Counties for that. So we do have the ability to target those very same institutions that anybody else would. They're highly competent. I mean, I'm very confident in my HR department's ability to do this. It's just in the past when the board has, not for me, but in prior cases when the board has looked at it, they've liked to invoke the county's staff because you're more comfortable with them. But yeah, that's what we would do. We would establish a job description with a pay range, put it out, receive electronic applications, and then the department, typically what they'll do is they'll take all of those get automatically routed to whoever the hiring person is, and then the hiring person reviews them, and then it picks the ones that they want to interview. And that's pretty much how the process is gone. It's very electronic now. In this case, though, the folks who would be receiving all of those applications would ultimately have to be you, each of you as a board member, and then you would go through them all, put in your comments, and ultimately select who you want. That's how our process works. But the difficulty is there's a screening process too. So we need to establish which ones you would want to see based on qualifications, because as we know in this world, you put stuff out there now, you put an ad out there to hire, and you get 100 of people who are not remotely qualified. But I'm not comfortable with having my staff in selecting who their future boss is going to be, doing that triage work and removing candidates from consideration based on their determination that they're not qualified. So the potential is someone at the county, you had a committee, I think, that looked at all of these when you did the county administrator. I'm not necessarily recommending that. It's just
Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is there is an internal process for this that could bring us external candidates as opposed to
yes.
hiring a search firm to do this when you already have the platform to get the information out there.
Absolutely.
And if it would be the will of the board that they want to go outside, I think that would be one of the steps to do it, would be using the platform that the HR department here uses, and whether it's a coordination with our HR department, I don't know legally what we can do. I'd ask our attorney to give us some suggestions or an interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, you could direct that the county HR department be involved in this. I think maybe they have in the past, Dan alluded to, but I don't know for sure, but it's certainly something the board could request that county HR, be involved.
I seem to remember them being involved two executive directors ago or so. So it was a while. I mean, I was in this job since 2018. My predecessor since 2007. So we've only had 2 executive directors since 2007. So it's been a while.
Well, it sounds to me that our HR department here has a handle on the avenues to hire people in this utility business.
Yes.
So I don't want to reinvent the wheel if we don't have to. So that would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Commissioner Sacks?
This isn't our first rodeo when it comes to selecting a top person, and I agree with Mayor Marino when it comes to using our HR department for the Board of County Commissioners for the whole county. And I also agree with Commissioner Woodward. This is a big job, but this is exciting. It's going to be. I'm sad to see you go, Mr. Pelowitz. And but we are really at the cusp of doing so much with renewable and with what we're doing with our solid waste. So it's a big job, and it's a great transition. Going and casting the wide net, as Commissioner Powell alluded to, is excellent. It's a big job. This is a big county, largest of all the counties in the state. So let's cast that big net. We'll get to work. That's what we're doing. This is our job. It's what we're supposed to do. So I agree with the comments of my colleagues. When we talk about how far the net is with the internet and LinkedIn and all the other ways that people find out about open positions, this is almost global. So I agree with everybody. I'm waiting for somebody to make that motion, and I think that we will agree to have this search probably take over from the HR department of the county. Make it transparent. If we need an interim, then that's a decision that has to be made so that we take our time in doing it the right way. Should not be hasty, and because it's a big position and it's a big county. We have a lot of transitions going on with the way we treat our solid waste. So whatever we need to do, let's get it done. That's our job. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sacks. We do have a first and a second. I'm going to weigh in, and after listening to Commissioner Woodward, Mayor Marino, Commissioner Sacks, all the entire board, and I hadn't really felt strongly one way or the other, but we have been through some processes, and we have been through some very rigorous putting together boards and putting together job descriptions and putting together all kinds of things. So we're very familiar with that process. I will say I still think that the SWA is very unique, and we set the trend. I think, Dan Pelowitz, you've done an absolute amazing job being the executive director or administrator for this. And I can only say that I would think that your staff is a reflection of how well you've done as well. And I want to see somebody who knows the processes, who can take over in a very seamless transition, who doesn't have to learn on the job for this, because to the point of it being a utility. This isn't like the county, so I do believe in consistency, and I think if we were choosing this for another utility, it would be consistent as well, somebody within that. So I am switching a little bit in the sense that I do agree. I would like to at least try to see who we get as far as candidates from here, the SWA, internally, and see if we can find that best candidate, because even if we cast this broad net and we set all these processes and all these dates, then we end up going with an internal candidate anyways. Because that, if you look historically, is what ends up happening when you cast these broad nets. We generally end up going internal anyways, and it seems like a lot of waste. So I'd like to start here first, and then we as a board can decide if we don't like any of the candidates that potentially apply, going wider. But that's where I stand now. There is a first, there is a second. So let's take a roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Baxter,
Aye.
Commissioner Flores,
No.
Mayor Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Powell,
No.
Commissioner Sacks,
No.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Woodward,
Yes.
Please see that the motion carries 4-3. We are moving on, unless you'd like to say something.
So with the motion, it is my intent then that the applications will be received, and would you like them received by my HR department? They will
Yes.
be received by my HR department, and we will forward them down to you.
Yes, please.
Okay.
By when?
Do we have a,
What are the parameters here? Like, what are we doing?
I think we'll open it up for 2 weeks, and then for internal candidates, and then send them down to you. Is that
And
fair?
Then what?
Then I think we need to look at, either you're going to make a decision. Now, the December meeting is out there, so if you want to wait till December to make a decision as to whether you want to accept an internal candidate or move forward, that's up to you, or we can do it at a special meeting in November. But I think we should be able to get applications internally within 2 weeks.
And are we doing interviews in between?
Yes, we would attempt to schedule interviews with the internal applicants with all of you,
One-on-one,
one-on-ones.
and then we would do a
You would have a
live
meeting.
interview here on December.
How you want to do it, whether you want to do a live interview or not, that's up to you. You could each establish a preference, and if you agree, then
I just feel like this is like very open and not very, like in the other ones, we set very close parameters as to what we're doing. This sounds to me loosey-goosey right now. So let's set some specific dates, some parameters, and that way it's structured in a way that at least I feel comfortable with it. I mean, I want this to be a clear and transparent process.
all right. So my recommendation would be a 2-week period to receive applications. Then we will set up interviews with each of you. Then we'll schedule a special meeting, perhaps in November, where the board can come forward with their shortlisted candidates. And then at the December meeting, the board would make a decision. And if you're not happy with the internal applicants or any of them, the board can at that time decide to cast a wider net and go back out. Is that fair?
So we are doing the special meeting in November.
You indicated you wanted that. My indication was that everyone seemed to be okay with it. So yes, we'll do
Okay.
a special meeting in November.
All right. Thank you.
My only question is, would you prefer that it be? Do you want it at the November 18th meeting where we're already going to be there for the reorganization, or is that day going to be too busy to do it? And would you like it on a different day?
I personally wouldn't want it that day, but it is up to everyone else.
I'm open to anything.
I'm good with November. I don't mind reconvening as the SWA. I just wouldn't want to have that on the same day of everything else going on. And we are also going to reorg. So then I personally wouldn't want to have to, Commissioner Woodward, would you feel comfortable?
I mean, we'll work it out. We can also, the authority is also, and I don't know whether the account is still equipped. We've also had meetings in the McKeedy conference room for other things. So it may be, we could also look at that too if there's conflicts with the big commission
Well,
chambers.
can
or
we,
anything
I
like
guess
that.
another, can you just try to meet with us individually and work out which day in November would work best for
Yeah,
everyone?
we will do that. We will work that out.
I have Commissioner Powell first. Commissioner Powell?
Thank you. The timeline needs to be in writing. There are abstracts here that, as Commissioner Flores indicated, would be loosey-goosey, but I think that if, as a board, as a professional board, in the past, Commissioner Woodward has indicated that we've had timelines. We've had certain dates that we had to hit, certain milestones. To not have that here and included in what Commissioner Flores indicated in our backup would seem to be incomplete. I think there should have been maybe some alternatives to the process, and we are, as a board, working on the process. But I definitely do believe there needs to be timelines and dates. So if we're going to do internal candidates only, I think that there needs to be a deadline of when those internal candidates should apply. And if you say 2 weeks, what does 2 weeks look like? What's the date of the 2 weeks? Also, to make sure that it's an open process internally, individuals who are here who feel qualified should not feel any pressure not to apply because they, as you indicated with HR, may feel that they may not be the candidate of choice. I think everyone who's qualified or feels they're qualified should have the ability to apply. And then I do believe we need a timeline in writing. The process needs to be concrete, and it needs to be something that the public can review and see as well. If it's an open process, and that's why we're having this conversation now, this needs to be in the public. It needs to be thought out carefully, and then it needs to be executed with precision. It needs to be executed excellently. It can't be mediocre. I keep this notion that mediocrity can never be excellence. The only thing that can be excellent is excellence. And if we come up with a process that is mediocre, well, we'll do this on this date, then we'll do that, and then maybe we'll pull back and, it needs to be in writing, and it needs to be followed to a T
Commissioner Powell?
and executed well. Thank you.
I'm going to ask my board members to take out your calendars. And I do have lights on and I want to hear back, but I want to bring this to light before hearing your comments so you can comment on this as well. 2 weeks from today, Mr. Pelowitz, is October 22nd. If we could have it open, would that be sufficient for you, or would you like it till the end of the week, which would be the 24th?
Yeah, let's do the 24th.
Okay, that would be a Friday, so it would close on the 24th. Next, we have, if you pull up your calendars, we have a comp plan meeting on November 5th. It is a Wednesday. Comp plan meetings are generally short, so that might be a great day for us to, once they send us those internal applicants. Is that not good for you, Commissioner? Does anyone have a conflicts for November 5th, Commissioner?
I do. Thank you.
You do.
I have a November 5th conflict.
Now, we also have a zoning meeting on the 13th. Is there a conflict there? 13th of November is a Thursday. Any conflicts?
No.
So that would be a good day for us, would be November 13th. And then we will look at the applicants that are sent to us after close of the 24th, review them, and then how do you see this going, Mr. Pellis? We'd send them to you?
at this point, let's discuss exactly how you want it to go from there. So if the applicants are coming, if we get the applications by the 24th and we get them to you, do you want to interview then, or would you like to use the November 13th meeting as a shortlisting meeting to decide who you want to proceed further with?
I'll say, just because I would like to see us do individuals and then have a very short list for that public meeting. Does anyone have any difference from that?
It's the same thing we did before.
Right. I think that would be best.
So my question then is, how do we determine who's on the short list in the absence of doing it at a public meeting? Because each of you may have different opinions as to who would be on the short list.
I could throw out a suggestion. We can each pick our favorite and send it to you, or we could each pick 2 favorites. I'll wait to hear from the board and send it to you. And that could be a short list process. But next is up is Mayor Marino. So if you'd like to chime in.
I think the first thing that we need to get would be a job description. And as Dan said, you already have one.
Yeah, we might have to touch it up a little bit,
Okay.
but we have it.
You know, we do need specifics. Commissioner Woodward read the specifics, but we are trying to get someplace quickly, and we can't lose sight of the fact that we have to do it in an organized manner. Well, I think we're all trying to get there, but I think before we could shortlist anybody, we need to have a job description and possibly a salary range for other executives in your position. And I think you might have that information.
We did a salary survey 2 years ago, but we can also do a quick one with our consultant Evergreen. They can call around and they can get us a quick salary survey for
And you have a consultant on staff that helps you with questions like this.
Evergreen, yes.
Okay. So then we have a job description. We have a job description. We also have a salary range. What else would we need? Because with that information, we as a board would be able to read folks' applications and see if they fit within the criteria. I think that would give us the ability to choose from whatever applications we get, and whether we pick 1 or 2 and send that as our short list. We would need to do all of that before the November 13th meeting, because I think the November 13th meeting would be where we would hash this out. And then if we can hash it out, then when we reconvene again in December would be when we would approve the contract, because what we would make the offer, we would reconvene on the 13th, make the offer on the 13th. But in the meantime, we also have to have a contract, attorney, I'm looking at you, to approve in order to move this forward. Is that the right process?
Yeah, I think that contract would probably have to come back after that date, though, because you're going to have to negotiate with whoever's selected at that date. So we really won't have the terms finalized at that point in time.
So it sounds like the 13th would be when we would, if we wanted to do a public interview of the folks, it would be on the 13th. And that would be from the folks, the 1 or 2 folks that we have shortlisted. And we could say, okay, we'll take the top 5, so we don't have, it's not unwieldy. But again, this is, we're massaging our way through this, so let's see what else everyone thinks about that. Thank you.
Commissioner Sachs.
As we stated before, this is one of the most important decisions we're going to make in this board. So let's do it as my colleague, Commissioner Powell, said, let's do it in an excellent way. Just give us the dates. We're working on it. And when is your last day of employment, Mr. Pellets?
I intended it to be December 23rd.
I want to reconsider January.
I'm willing-
Okay, December, I'm not going to, December
I'm willing to work
23rd.
with you if
So
necessary.
we need to move swiftly and give us the dates. We're ready to work. My only caveat, transparency. We've done this for the county administrator. We're going to do it for the county attorney. And the more that we have it transparent and open to the public, because this is the one person who's going to be running our solid waste authority, hopefully for many years to come, in an excellent way you did it. So it's going to be transparent. Whatever way we need to do it will be available. This is a very important decision we're going to make, and let's just make it in an excellent manner, and we're here to work. So give us the dates. We'll be here and have it as open and transparent as we always do. Thank you, Mr. Pelowitz.
Commissioner Flores?
Yeah, as we keep talking, I keep having more questions, and I apologize about that, but I feel like we're rushing a bit, and I understand that we're working up against a deadline, and we don't meet as often as our county commission board. You know, and as we've gone through the other two positions that have become available at the county that we hire, we've always started with approving a job description. We're sort of bypassing that here, assuming that the job description that was done previously is going to be used for this particular job, which I haven't seen.
Commissioner Flores, may I suggest or ask a question? Would
Sure.
it make you feel more comfortable if Mr. Pelowitz sent us an updated job description for us to approve individually?
I agree.
Or-
I agree with that.
I
But
guess that's not allowed. Hold on, county
Yeah, you
attorney
can't
shaking
really,
their head.
you can't really do that by email. I mean, Dan could probably read it today. I mean, is there one that we can talk about
I
today?
don't have it on me. I mean,
Is it on the website?
I don't think so. It's in a file.
well, not only that, it's we've discussed requirements. We've discussed different things. So when do we get to provide that input? If we see something in there that we want to change. So we're sort of skipping that. We're now moving on to accepting applications through the 24th. We're not providing any input on wages or on the salary range. And then my question is, the other question I have is, what happens if we only get one applicant? And I think that's something that we should consider because internally I've received a letter from an individual who's interested, who has gone and even collected signatures from fellow employees. So, I don't know. The more we talk about this, the more concerned I get about it. We not getting enough applicants, and we're just selecting from a pool of one or two individuals.
I've just been emailed the job description.
Can we print it? Can we see it? Can we move this to the back of the
Can you have
agenda,
Tim-
move forward, and then come back to it?
Commissioner Powell?
I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. If I were in the audience, I would ask this question. This is an internal search at first, and I heard my colleague saying the short list. How many people internally would be qualified? Wouldn't any list be a short list? Just saying, right? That would be my question. Are we expecting that within the organization 50 people are going to apply?
No.
Probably not, right? So any list, just saying, would probably be the short list.
Point.
Is that, I don't know, I'm from Palm Beach County, and using common sense, I would think that, am I wrong?
Yeah, I don't think the list would be extensive. I mean, you might get 5,
So that
10, maybe, 10, maybe.
that would be, I think that would be short. That would be a short list, right? So when we talk about a short list, if we're doing internally, why the drawn out conversation? If the candidates internally apply, and then Commissioner Flores has a point, if somebody's already collected signatures internally, that may be the person. So we can save ourselves the process. Why don't we just hire that person? Just thinking out loud. Maybe I should have not thought it out loud. Saying the quiet part out loud. It's up to y'all. I'm here, ready to work. GTJD, get the job done.
Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Chair. I just was taking some notes, and as Commissioner Powell pointed out, I actually had already written if 5, I was expect would be a reasonable number. I would think we're capable of interviewing whatever internal candidates come to us. If we get October 24th to November 13th, gives us plenty of time for us to schedule our own individual interviews with whoever applies internally. I'm looking at this as, we've done this before, you've done this before, in this same process. We interview whichever candidates decide to throw their hat into this, and then when we meet on November 13th, we would have our public interviews and then make our decision. And then when we meet in December, hopefully that would give the attorney enough time that we would then be voting on a contract. And if we only get the one, we interview the one, and if we all decide, well, that one is the one, that's what happens. And if we all interview and say, well, that's not the one, and that's the only one we got, then we go out beyond that. It's a choice. It's not, and we're not boxing ourselves in to say if we only get one, that it's just automatic. We still are going to interview this person and do our part. And if we decide, all right, great, we only needed the one, then we're done. If we get 2, then we make 2. If it's 5, it's 5. But that's what this is setting up for. I think we're making it a bit complicated. We can do this. We've already done a much bigger one, much more scrutinized one, and we're a bit practiced now. I think we can do this. So I like the dates that you've proposed, Chair, and I think that leaves us in a good place. We can move forward.
I have copies of the job description coming. So,
Thank you,
I mean,
Mr.
we can get them to you certainly before the end of the meeting.
So to reiterate the process, while we're waiting for those job descriptions, we have a deadline for applicants of October 24th. We will then receive those applicants to us individually, which we will then send you who we'd like to interview, right? Now, there are 7 commissioners, so I don't know how we can limit it to 5 if there are 7 different people, but I think common sense tells us all of us would probably not choose separate people. So I think 5 is a good.
Any of the ones that you select to interview individually, we would make available. So you would all have your
Prior
own.
to the 13th.
Yes. we
And
would
then
all-
from that, we would choose who shows up on the 13th.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the job interviews. Or excuse me, the job descriptions.
And I will get Evergreen to take a look at this quickly and come back with a salary range. And I will get that to you as well. And then you can discuss that at the November 13th meeting as to what your proposed salary range is. It will be pretty broad.
I'm going to skip and read something out loud that I feel is important to most of us on the board on the second page. It's education and experience. Bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university with major coursework in public or business administration or related field. A master's degree is preferred. Minimum 10 years of responsible experience in the solid waste management field with a minimum of 5 years in the public sector preferred. Does anyone on this board have any issues with those minimum requirements? Perfect. I would say that the duties and responsibilities of this job, Dan, you know better than us, because you do it every day.
Yes. So I think the qualifications is pretty clear. This job requires knowledge of solid waste management. It requires knowledge of public administration and finance, and it obviously requires the ability to establish and maintain working relationships. I mean, I think it's pretty well written as it is, but if you have any suggestions for tweaks to it, I guess now's the time to do it, because otherwise we're just gonna, if you don't like it, then I can't function based on what one person says if they don't like it.
Right. Did you want to add anything to the educational requirements? Mayor Marino, your light was on. I apologize. I didn't see it.
That's all right. I see, now you know how difficult it is when it's me at the chamber, because it's like you never see the lights on. Anyway, Dan, this was written in 2018. You've been here since you've been here longer than that, but you fulfilled this. Is there anything on here that you feel needs to be added? We, as the Board of County Commissioners, don't know what you do. So for us to look at it and say, you know, I think the education part is the most important, but the duties and responsibilities would be, if there's anything different on here or lacking, it would have to come from you, because we really don't know.
There isn't anything on here I would significantly change. Under the education experience, I would just expand upon that and basically say it's not just by or related field. That means, like, you know, engineering or sciences or something like that. So that's all I would say. That's what we meant when we wrote that. So.
Okay. If this is what Mr. Pelowitz feels is the true job description, I don't think we need to go much further than this. Again, Evergreen can supply us with a salary range, which would help us in the advertising of it. But I'm comfortable with this job description, if Mr. Pelowitz is comfortable with it.
I have Commissioner Flores, then Commissioner Sacks.
I don't want to keep going on about this. I object to the entire process that the board has elected to move forward with. I have just received this job description about 5 minutes ago. If this is the will of the board, so be it. I'm assuming the internal candidates are probably going to meet this minimum requirement. I don't like the way this is moving forward, and I put my objection on record.
Commissioner Sacks.
I didn't want to not agree with y'all, but I think I do disagree with y'all, and I'll tell you why. You've done a great job. You've done it since, what was that, 10 years, 9, 10 years. We've changed. I'd like to see a job description that includes the science behind renewables and energy reuse. And I don't know if that's internally. So I think that what concerns me is not to cast that larger net. There could be, if we have a shining star right here, I'll see you. If I have 20 other applicants, I'll see you. But to limit it is limiting the future progress and journey of the Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County. And I know that we have challenges coming up with regard to renewables, with regard to energy reuse, science that I don't even understand, and I'm sure that a lot of folks don't. But that scientific background that we really sorely need, I'm not sure. I'd like just to know what it is. And this job description is a job description that fits you perfectly and the needs of our county solid waste authority 10 years ago. Well, what are we going to be like 10 years from now? It's going to be different. It's got to be different. And that's why I would like to see a more enhanced, if we're going to do it internally, we've got, let's check with artificial intelligence. See, what are we going to look like? How much garbage are we going to produce? How much, waste from animals, yes or no, are we going to produce? I don't know the answers to these. And I think that we need to know that. We need to get somebody who has the expertise, this scientific expertise, to get us into that new journey in the next, hopefully, 10 years. So I feel uncomfortable right now because we're looking at finding someone who knows those answers. And I don't even know what the questions are, but I know that that person has to have that expertise. Otherwise, we're going to stay the same, and we can't. We can't, because if so, my objection is basically that we're just not qualified at this moment to know. I think we need to have more, little more background into this, and so I put my objection onto the record because I just am not. We are not qualified at this moment to see where we're going to be 5, 7, 10 years from now, and I think we need professional expertise for that, Mr. Pelowitz. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Pelowitz.
The whole purpose of this memo was to determine the board's path forward, and that was the whole purpose. It was not necessarily to rush anything. It was just to get some direction as to how you want to proceed. My date of departure should not be an arbitrary deadline for your deliberative process as to who you want to hire or how. You always have the ability to select an interim during that time period and take your time and make a decision in accordance with whatever process you see fit. So that's the direction this came from. That was the purpose of the memo. It was not to create angst, which I apologize that it seems to have.
Thank you, Mr. Pelowitz. I do believe we can move on. There are no more lights. You've heard from the board. Thank you.
I believe I have, and I'm going to go with that direction.
Next
you.
up, we have 9 legal counsel
What do we got? New business? No new business.
operations.
Nothing today, thank you.
And then I believe we have cards on customer information services. If you would, please.
Do you want to do the staff presentation first, or do you want to do the cards first?
Let's do cards first.
Okay.
We have Joe Sandora, Evelyn DeJesus, and Catherine Antunez.
Morning, Madam Chair, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. Joseph Sandora, FCC Environmental Services. Been working and managing in this county since 1988. Worked for companies that managed every service area there was in Palm Beach County. With the try and to blend in these different zones to work together for haulers is very difficult. The county is unique. You start on the south end, and as you move north, the amount of trash that's put out at the curb increases. From when you go south to central, you have well-established homes, mostly families. So the amount of garbage and disposal increases from there. And then as you go farther north into the acreage, Jupiter Farms, Colusa, and that area. So for a long time, the rates have always been different, and there's been a reason why they're different. And it just has to do with the amount of garbage that's placed at the curb. The way the zones are situated now, they're very efficient. We can maximize our equipment, and I think you'll get the lowest bid pricing staying the way it is. As you try and blend these different areas, you go back to what I said about the amount of garbage. So it's very difficult for us. There's a lot of unknowns, and with those unknowns, we have to err in caution, and we have to look and try and blend these together. But in the end, we have to cover ourselves. So I think by blending these areas, you're going to see an increase in rates, whereas the current zones, you'll see more competitive pricing. It's just very difficult as far as logistics, figuring out disposal, And some of these areas are pretty large that you have to cover. So my ask is that you would keep it the same as it is now. I think it'll definitely bring in the lower rates, and I think everybody would be more competitive with the current zones. I think that's the way staff set them up, and I just believe trying to make all these different choices and blends is just going to increase the price to the residents. Thank you.
Evelinda Jesus and Catherine Antunez.
Hi, good morning, everyone. First, I'm resident here for the state of Florida. I've been here for about 10 years, and I had the pleasure to meet and Mr. Joel Flores has been leading the District 3. He's been doing an amazing job, as everyone is doing. So we would like to talk about our community, how the price is. Right now, we're paying $27 when other communities are paying $11. So the only thing we suggest is to be like in the same amount of price, like in the middle, as well as someone who paid 11 can be a little bit up, and we can come a little bit down. That's it. It's anything that you guys can discuss about that and be fair with that waste garbage, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to start by thanking for the opportunity to be here. My name is Catherine Antunes. I'm a resident of West Palm Beach for more than 10 years. I'm a daughter, and I'm a mother of 4 years old. One of the things that bring me up to this meeting is the concern about the rising prices in our economy. Correct. It's not a secret that the economy is rising up. Prices are going up, food and everything. Now, the waste, right? It's going up. As a working family from low class, now a middle class, my concern is that many families like me, like my mother, is not gonna be able to afford it, and how this is gonna affect multiple families, because West Palm Beach, and not only West Palm Beach, but also District 3, it's a growing district. We have new constructions, many houses, many families like us that are gonna be affected, and I'm concerned about that. Most of them don't even speak the language, and that's what I'm here. We had a meeting yesterday with them talking about the same thing. They're not here because they're scared about the system, how it's right now with all this government, right? But here I am with my little English trying to be a voice. So we ask our commissioners today to please, if there's any chance that we can redraw the map. I know this has something to do with the West and how the map was originally made, but as we know, West Palm Beach is not too far from homes, right? We're really close from each other. So if there's anything that we can do so we can justify those prices and not affect our families, let's remember we all come from the low. We're trying to be middle, and I want to thanks for this opportunity, and I hope our commissioners today can hear our voices from low-income families. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you. Ms. Antunes? Ms. Antunes, yeah, I had a question for you. First off, thanks for being here. You say you live in West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach.
So West Palm Beach, I also live in West Palm Beach. In West Palm Beach, we have the municipal garbage, and we're not serviced by the haulers from the Solid Waste Authority. Those are only in unincorporated.
Perfect.
Okay.
I appreciate the information. That way we're not misunderstood with my community, right? Because at the end, I'm here to represent them, and they were worried about, because this was viral on social medias, and they were like, Catherine, like, what are we gonna do now? Are we gonna be paying this? And I explained, hey, listen, let's show up. That's the first thing, right? Let's be informed and let's see what's going on, and then we can start from there. So I'm glad West Palm Beach is not part of it, but yes, I'm still concerned about District
Of
3.
course.
Thank
Yep,
you.
no,
Thank
and
you.
I'm
I really
concerned
appreciate
about
the information.
the cost in West Palm Beach as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Staff, if you would, please.
Okay, Ramana's gonna drive and I'm gonna do the presentation. So, if we can move forward. So let's start with what we've already decided in previous meetings. So the board has already approved the following levels of service. So garbage is automated, semi-automated collection twice a week. Recycling is dual stream, collected once per week. Bulk collection, 3 items, collected once per week. Yard waste, 6 yards collected weekly at no cost, and they are excluded from any volume estimates for any oversized piles. Non-compliant vegetation, the pile rate is at $10 per cubic yard. That would be for everything in excess of 6 cubic yards. And the commercial rate was established at $5.50 per cubic yard. The board also, we brought forth a subscription service. The board decided they did not want to do it. We're going to be bidding yard waste 2 ways at 6 yards and 12 yards. The board will decide which bids to award. The customer service office must be established within the county within 30 days prior to contract commencement. And the SBE, Small Business Enterprise Participation Goals, are 20% for the regular service areas, and the SBE set-aside area, if the board opts to continue that once we look at these maps, is established therein with a 51% minimum for the SBE proposer. We agreed we were going to come back to you with 2 items. One was vegetation amnesty, which was a program we proposed that would allow 1 time a year for 15 cubic yard pile to be put at the curb between January 1st and May 31st. We were asked to come back with a price. It would be about $2 per month per unit, per curbside unit. I will tell you that that would probably be problematic for a lot of folks who probably wouldn't use the service, and you're asking everyone to pay for it. I will tell you that the Citizens Advisory Committee did not like this and did not recommend it. And at this point, given the fact that we have a $10 rate for the excess piles, I really don't believe it's necessary. So my recommendation would be, at this point, to not do the vegetation amnesty. But I can certainly understand there is a lot of desire out there on folks, and it's been brought up a lot why some folks do it. The municipalities do it. Several of them do. City of West Palm Beach does, but they're different than we are. And they have, we're the large county. We've got over 200,000 single-family homes in the county. And to try and coordinate that with over 200,000 residents is probably more complicated than we need to get into. But
Excuse me, Mr. Pellets. Commissioner Weiss, did you still want to speak, or is this left over from before? Okay, thank you.
so that's on that. The next one is we were asked by the board to look at changing boundaries and moving boundaries around to try and promote a way to levelize the rates countywide, simply by moving boundaries. And so we've come up with a number of options, 8 different options that you can look at, and I'm prepared to go through them right now. And please feel free to ask any questions in the middle of this, because I understand it's a lot of data and a lot of information, and please ask. So at the August meeting, this is the map we proposed. This map is essentially the same boundaries that were used in 2014 through 2019. The only difference is that SA5 area there, that's the SBE set aside. That, in this map, has been removed from Service Area 3, and it created a separate, smaller service area so that a small business enterprise could propose and service that service area. So this is what was in place back then. So now with that, we'll go forward with our options. Exhibit A, this option A, what we've done is, if you look in the north, we've extended that northern service area down all the way to the boundary of where that that SBE service area is. And that encompasses all of those eastern areas, including that eastern area that is currently tied together with the acreage. So that,
Excuse me, Mr. Pelowitz.
sir.
Commissioner Powell, did you have a question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Pelowitz, these rates that you show, the $20 in the north, SBE projected rate 14 southeast, southwest 22 and 14. Are those rates lower? And if the haulers have to adjust once these, and this is for every iteration that you show us, if the haulers have to adjust, could those rates shift on customers?
So
or
that-
are they?
Thank you for asking, because I should have gone into this a little bit at this point. What we've done is we have taken the existing rates throughout the county and knowledge of recent bids and tried to create, by blending areas, the weighted average rate that theoretically would result by blending them together. This is in no way representative of how a hauler might bid, because we have no idea how they're going to bid. We're just trying to provide a reference as to what goes up and what goes down so that you can see them relative to each other. So are there any questions about that? So that's what we've done throughout all of this.
As a follow-up, did you use?
Right. They're not real rates that are going to happen.
Okay, that's what I want to know. And were you using a certain type of GIS that was measuring the number of clients or customers in each zone?
That's correct. So what we've done is taken these maps, and our GIS manager, Josephine Rudd, sitting right there, put these maps together in the system and then applied the unit counts that we have in our database to these maps so that we can get a determination of how many units are then going to be in each of these service areas. And then when we blended the areas together, we took the units and the existing pricing or recent bid prices, applied it to those units to try and come up with what we believe to be a reasonable estimation of a current day blended price by changing these boundaries. So there's a limitation there, is we don't know how the haulers are going to bid. We can't control how they're going to bid, and the real world might not actually work this way.
Okay.
So that's what we've done here, and in this case, because there's so few units in the Glades, we took the Glades units here and combined them into the southeast, because it doesn't really affect the rate by adding 1,200 single-family homes from the Glades into it. In order for this to work, obviously, whoever's got that area would want to probably subcontract that to somebody. They could probably get some SBE points by doing it, but it is feasible that way. You asked us to blend, so we're doing the best we can to try and make these come out even.
Thank you, Mr. Pelowitz. I do have a question from Commissioner Flores and then Commissioner Sacks.
Mr. Pelowitz, it might be also good to go to the previous slide and sort of give what today's pricings are, so that,
Yeah, Ramona, can you?
and then just want to state for the record that this is going out to bid next year. This is why we're making these decisions today, because it's probably going to go up regardless, or we assume.
Yes, so the objective would be to put this bid package on the street as soon as possible to get prices back in December, so that the board can award these contracts in February, so that the contractors have 6 months to ramp up and gear up to be able to start providing service on October 1. The market in Florida is one that has been consistently seeing prices going up, and up in some cases significantly. So it's not unrealistic to expect that prices could go up 20% or more in these contracts. So that's why we're talking about this. I mean, that's why this is always a big deal. Just flipping to this table that's in front of you now, the way we proposed it in August using the same methodology that we just did, we believe would produce the rates on the top line of this chart. Based on current dollars, same methodology. 21 in the north, 25 in the central, and 14 in the service areas in South County. So that's the comparison. So I could stay on this table, or we can go back and go through each of the iterations, however you want to do it. Why don't we? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Well, this is the important chart that we're looking at right now, because this is the numbers. This is what our people will pay. Now we think
Theoretically.
we think they will pay. Obviously, they will probably pay a little more, no matter what the alliteration of the district. So, I mean, for the people in my district, and I'm all county, this is important to me. Not where the lines are drawn, and I think that what concerns me is whatever decision we make today, the haulers, and I don't know if there's haulers out here in the audience, the haulers will have to come back and give us their numbers. So if I'm obviously going to want to make a decision, each one of us, to the best, to benefit our people, or at least to make it a compromise to benefit everybody by combining some of the districts. But this chart is what is determinative for me in terms of how much my people are going to pay. And however, the one thing I don't know, and I don't know, must be haulers out there, what do they say in terms of how much it's going to cost for them to do, to combine districts? That's my concern. But I'm just telling you right now, Mr. Pelowitz, this is a chart I'm looking at. And you came into my office, we had a very good discussion with the attorney. And we had some pretty pictures there with all the different districts. But this chart here is important for me because this determines what my people will pay regardless of where the lines are drawn. So I just wanted you to know. Thank you.
Thank you, and then I guess I'll proceed with where we were, just to go through them. So you saw option.
Mr. Pelowitz,
Yes, ma'am.
does anyone want him to go through each one of these different zones? Because it's summarized on page 23 of our packet in the pricing. Now, I do have a question. The gentleman that came up and spoke to the card and some other haulers that we have met with have voiced some concerns regarding changing the boundaries and these lines, and that in itself causing pricing to go up on top of everything else that would already cause it to go up. Are any of these reiterations?
So obviously change is difficult. The one benefit to maintaining it as close as it is to today is that we have a lot of data. And we have a lot of data we can give haulers in terms of customers and tonnages and a lot of stuff that they can then rely on in their bids, and it's more reliable than some assumptions we might have to make. So I mean, I've heard the same things. There's concern about uncertainty in bidding, and obviously when bidders are uncertain, they tend to price a little higher to put a little cushion in. That said, there are some of these that are not that dramatic a change, and some of them are more dramatic. I will tell you that the CAC, the Citizens Advisory Committee, liked what we proposed in August or E. Since then, we've also had a request for another option, which is G, which we have in here. So if you'd like, I can go through all of them and show them all the iterations. It won't take that long, or we can just... The crux of the issue here is that we have large districts that were designed back in 2013 to try and produce levelized rates. And that involved blending higher cost areas with lower cost areas. And it was successful in that year in lowering everybody's rates.
And that's where we are now?
But since then, the market has changed. And so when we went out in 2019 for the new contracts, the board established an MWBE set-aside area. That set-aside area is in pretty much the unincorporated area that's kind of wrapped around Wellington in that area. And what that did is it took a big chunk of units out of service area 2 that are fairly easy to service units. And the argument is that it resulted in higher prices in service area 2. And that's what we're seeing today and that's the service area 2 rate is the highest in the county right now at about $27 or so. We are, in the new map that we propose, putting that MWBE area back in to that area. And we project that will probably lower rates a little bit. But the representative from FCC was up here. I can tell you the South County rates have always been lower than everywhere else. And if you look at the chart, there's a chart there that's there. And you will see that South County has always been lower. So South County would be 5, 6, and 7 in that left column on the map. And you can go back to 2009 and you see how low the rates were in 5, 6, and 7. And 11 is what we're proposing is the new SBE cutout, which, again, really low rates. But the farther north you go, if you look at service area 8, just go back to the chart, Ramona. You go back, if you look at the 8, the pink lines, that 8, that's the western communities. That's Acreage and Jupiter Farms. Says $376 a year. And you compare that to the other rates on there. The year after we combined them, look at 2014, and you see the rates that ultimately were bid. And you will see that in nearly every area, the price came down. The only one that didn't was 4, and came down significantly. And obviously those were all CPI adjustments from that point forward. 2019 was negotiated. We had to extend these contracts by 1 year in order to facilitate the implementation of our that MWBE program. And so those were negotiated rates, and to make it, we pretty much got hammered in the renegotiations. And that carried through the existing bid. So by going to larger areas from smaller ones, we were able to lower prices. But now we're in a different situation. And we know the prices are going up. I'm just following the board's direction here. You wanted to see additional maps. You wanted to see how you could potentially combine areas to produce lower prices. You can, but if some areas are going to go down, and when you do this, some areas are going to go up. And it's really a decision for the board to determine whether and how you want to do that.
Of the different iterations, was there a specific one that staff was suggesting?
Well, I was, to me,
Or were
E
you
is the
saying you'd
one. E is the one. If you don't want to go with what we've proposed, E is the one that produces the smallest impact on service area 3, the western areas of South County, at a $5 a month increase, roughly, and the most stable rates. But you're at $20 roughly on average in North County, again, theoretically. So this is the one that, if you look at all of them, is probably better than the others. The ones that C and D that have, we call them islands, like these, that basically combine southeast with the northern and a western, is just kind of, it demonstrates how close you can get the rates together, but it just functionally doesn't work. So I don't recommend that.
It's
but
after it all, though.
those ones that do that, I don't
21?
recommend those. I think E satisfies the need. But the question really is for the board is this something that you want to do? And we're prepared to discuss every one of these options in detail if you want to.
I think we're gonna have a round, so if we could pull up slide number 4, please, that are gonna require board direction, so the commissioners can give their opinions. Four, please.
What is 4?
This is items requiring board direction. So vegetation and service area boundaries. And I have Commissioner Flores first.
So I think I sort of led that conversation about the service areas at the last meeting, and I felt like there was some gaps in pricing where my district took on the majority of the West, and I was looking for options to see how we can sort of meet in the middle somewhere. I tend to like Exhibit E, where we're not really changing that much, but there are some subtle changes that, sort of brings everybody closer to the middle. And the reason I was thinking that is because my district is the workforce, and I was thinking if we're paying the highest today, and then we're looking at a 20% increase, that's going to take a toll on a lot of these folks. So I wanted to see if there's a way that we can somehow meet in the middle, somehow, some way, and make it more equitable across the board. And based on the projections that the staff, by the way, staff, thank you for doing all of this. I know that I gave you a lot of work, and you guys took it upon yourselves to look at different ways to see how we can, serve the entire county in the best way possible. It seems like Exhibit E, which is the one I believe that the Citizens Advisory Committee recommended, in addition to the one that the staff proposed, sort of levelizes everything, and even then, still my district would be paying one of the highest, but it's okay because it sort of brings it down a little bit. So I'm okay with this particular exhibit. So I would ask my board to consider Exhibit E. I'd be happy to hear their feedback. And the other thing that we were supposed to do, give direction on, was
Vegetation.
the $2.
Yeah.
That at this point in time, I think I would be against. So that's sort of where I'm at. But I want to hear from the rest of the board.
Mayor Marino.
I think Commissioner Flores pled his case accurately and correctly, and I would support not doing the amnesty, but option E.
Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. I would support Commissioner Flores with option E. Seems reasonable. And the amnesty, I would agree. I don't believe that that's worth it. What would the cost be for if someone were to go over? It's at overage.
It's $10 a yard. So if someone put out a 15-yard pile, minus 6 would be 9 times 10 be $90 for that
Okay.
homeowner.
And this would be, okay. I would agree with that. Thank you.
Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm okay in supporting and would support Commissioner Flores on Exhibit E. That would be okay. And then also I would oppose offering the amnesty program or including it.
Commissioner Sachs.
I support my colleague, Commissioner Flores, on option E, and I also support the other members of the board with no amnesty.
Commissioner Powell?
Thank you for that. The issue I have, I think, accepting any of the options and including option E is the rate calculation. We just need to make sure, and you said it earlier, Mr. Pelowitz, that these rates are based on what you believe the proposals would be. And we have haulers here who may or may not think that these rates would work. The problem is if are we taking on an extra burden when we create these different districts. I think E does work. We still have, the Southeast, as was told, is relatively low at the $14 rate. Everywhere else is somewhat even, but my question becomes, who takes on the burden of the more densely populated areas? How does that work out? Does that result in either here artificially low rates shown on this particular page that will cost the haulers to increase in an amount that's much more than shown here? If we can iron that out, then I would be willing to support option E. Additionally, the amnesty program would probably work for certain districts. It probably wouldn't be necessary for all. So with that being said, I would wage against the amnesty program unless it were able to be implemented for particular districts. If it couldn't, then it wouldn't work.
Should I?
Commissioner Powell, are you finished?
I am. Thank
you.
you.
So I just want to make clear in the discussion of the rates, as I've said, the rates that we have on here are theoretical based on what we know. What the haulers will actually bid, that's up to their assessment and their due diligence. To the extent that there are unknowns that they have a concern with, that could produce higher prices. The rate that we used in determining these rates most of them were the current rates, but in the case of the acreage and the western areas, we used $36 a month, which is a rate that's similar to what was recently bid in Loxahatchee Groves. So by blending those units in, that's what we're using as the rate to blend these in. That doesn't mean that's how it's going to work out. I mean, the whole objective of this was to try and give you a map that balanced, and we had to use something to determine how that it was going to do that. So it's one of those things, it's, that the finance people always tell you past results are not indicative of future results. I can't predict how the haulers are going to bid in relation to this. All this was done is to give you an idea of relative moves. How
We
they are
appreciate that. Thank
relative
you,
to each
Dan.
other.
Commissioner Woodward?
Thank you. I know that the larger purpose of this discussion was the maps, but I was curious, are we at a stage where we can also discuss the bids going out? I've had a few conversations with some of the haulers who, when I was asking them for ways to help us potentially lower costs, they gave me some pretty good feedback. Would now be the appropriate time to inquire on some options on the bid?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to close out the discussion on the map and
So-
vote on the boundaries first and then go into this?
I have two other lights, so unless Commissioner Weiss, are you still commenting on these two items, the amnesty and the service area? You are? So
And
Commissioner
when
Weiss?
we're ready to come back.
Okay.
Thank you. I mean, I just really, and this is really for the public, because I know what we're seeing is potentially confusing people. What you're seeing on these maps and the costs that you're seeing, they're not what anybody has proposed or bid going forward, and that's what we're working on. We're working on creating the guidelines for those bids for the haulers, and they're going to come back with prices. What this discussion is really about is trying to understand the relative differences if we make these changes to the map based on what has been happened in the past. But it does not, and as Executive Director Pelot said, it is not indicating what's going to be in the future. So I just don't want the public to look at this and say, oh, that's what our rate is going to be, because we don't know what those rates are until we hear back from the haulers. And so I just want to be very clear with you. You know, we're all trying to do the best we can, but until the haulers get these maps and then can do their calculations, we won't know what those bids are and what going forward the new rates will be.
Thank you, Mr. Pelowitz. So board has almost unanimously agreed that service area E is what we're going with. No amnesty period is required, or we're not doing an amnesty at all. And then Commissioner Woodward did want to speak to some other options, but also reminded me I do as well. So one of the things that had came up during meetings with some of the haulers, one option that I liked was the potential to allow them a longer life on their equipment. Okay, how long I believe it is on their equipment is 7 years, I believe, or 5.
It's 5 years. Equipment coming in can't be more than 5 years old. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, there's obviously flexibility there. These are 7-year contracts. So in the 7-year contracts, it kind of matched. But if you, we removed the 5?
Yes, we removed that requirement.
So what is it now?
So I believe it was within 10 years is what we proposed.
No, he's talking. The
length-
commissioner's talking about the equipment, the age of the equipment.
The age of the equipment to the start of the
Trucks,
contract.
Their capital costs.
So how old can the new equipment, the equipment they come in with, be?
Correct.
What's the answer?
I believe we made it 10 years. So we got rid of the 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As long as we can confirm that, I think that was what the ask was, and just being in the industry of automotives and things, sometimes 5 years is relatively
short.
Short, correct. We're gonna take a. Oh, here she is. Never mind. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. Okay, my couple of questions were: Do we have a 5-year fleet age requirement in our bid? Did you already ask that? Okay.
I just did. It's 10 years now.
Perfect. Do we allow for them to have potentially less days, same service, but less days for routing? As far as instead of operating for 6 days, they could schedule themselves to do 5 days or 4 days, as long as they do the same level of service twice a week.
The problem they could do 4 days. I mean, they could do Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Friday, and not do Wednesday, Saturday.
So we do allow for that
They
in the
could
bid.
do that, but we don't allow 5-day. We don't allow a 5-day schedule, because that's once a week. Because then you end up with Monday.
No, I just mean, do we allow the haulers to basically set their own schedule, as long as they are doing twice a week pickup, once a week vegetative, once recycling, as long as they do those things, do they have the flexibility to set their own
They can
days?
They can certainly do that. Yeah, they can certainly do that. That would involve basically consolidating all of their routes. So we have three basically. There's 3 schedules right now. It's Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday, Saturday. If they decide they want to do everything Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, and not have a Wednesday, Saturday, and work on Wednesday on something else, they can do that.
Okay.
They're probably not. Just to say, it's not advantageous from their bid standpoint, from a cost standpoint, because they've got idle equipment sitting on Saturday, but they can certainly do it.
Okay, well, as long as it's their, it's an option for them. And if they find it's better for them and they want to bid that way for a lower price, that's allowed. Okay. And then do we allow creativity as far as, we have a few bids that have come back to us, and there were some innovative techniques that certain bidders put into their bid that actually kind of got them kicked out of the process because it wasn't in with what the specific requirements were. Do we allow for innovative solutions to come in with the bid that would not necessarily get them, deemed, was it non-compliant because they didn't fit exactly what we're asking? Is that making sense?
It makes sense, but my short answer is they're required to meet all of the requirements of the bid. And if they don't meet the requirements of the bid, they could be declared non-responsive. It's hard for me to understand what unique things they were alluding to. We will have a pre-proposal meeting on these bids, and they certainly have the ability to raise these issues, but did they have a specific index they would like to consider? Or?
There was one that actually had garbage, G, is it that one? It's the water, sewer, and trash. Okay, because it had trash in it, so that's what we're already using. Okay, perfect. And then if there was a hauler that wanted to, they were telling me some of their ideas, and I didn't know if that would have them deemed non-compliant or not. But again, without being able to tell you specifically what those things are, I'm not seeing anyone standing up here. But if there's a protest period because they come up with some innovative idea, I'm not to speak for the whole board, but myself, if they're coming with solutions that maybe we're not aware of, I wouldn't want them to be removed from the process just because of that. But if there's a path, they can still make it to us. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, they just, Romana indicated he had something to say, so.
Yeah, during the solicitation process, they can ask that question, whatever alternate, innovative techniques, they want to use, they can ask the question and we can respond to that before the bids are open.
Okay. All right, well, that should be all of my questions. Thank you.
If I could, and we don't have a chair right now, I just want to be clear, this is a low bid situation, so you do have to be careful about allowing people to provide alternates and things of that nature, because then your level playing field goes away and you get, arguments that we're acting in an arbitrary manner. So it's not an RFP, it's a bid, so there's less flexibility involved in the process.
Mayor Marino.
And when was the last time we did a waste generation study?
The waste generation study, the last time we did it ended in 1997.
Would it behoove us to do one now?
I brought this up before.
It would take 2 years to do it, and $1 million to $2 million, somewhere in that range to do it. We've looked, I presented to you last board meeting a summary of 2 recent waste generation studies that were done. Our values are kind of in the middle of those. We can obviously do it, but the waste generation study, I guess, my question then is, as it relates to this topic.
Yeah, as it relates, as it relates to this topic. And waste generation and waste composition.
So the way the waste generation study would affect this process is that every homeowner pays an assessment. It's garbage and vegetation combined. The haulers receive credits because it's prepaid when they come across the scales. So each service area, the hauler of that service area receives garbage credits and vegetation credits to offset their bills. A waste generation study would change those credits. The other thing the waste generation study would do is potentially, if it changes significantly, it could result in one classification of payers paying more and another classification paying less. So for example, if the study comes back and residential, somehow you do the study and the generation rates for residential go up and the commercial rates go down, you're going to see a shift in the cost sharing between residential and commercial, and the residential rates that we charge on disposal will go up and the commercial rates will go down. Or that could, it could be alternatively, it could go the other way. The way the assessment works is we have a pool of money. So we establish a budget every year. And then based on that budget, we subtract the revenue sources that are not covered by the assessment. Energy revenue, recycling revenue, tipping fees for things like tires and construction debris and all of that, interest income. We deduct all of that, and what's left is what's covered under the assessment. That's a pie. The generation study determines how the pie is divided. So there is no scenario in which the pie gets bigger or the pie gets smaller. It only determines which single family, multifamily, mobile home, low, medium, high generating commercial, which group gets which allocation. That's what the generation study does. Anything we would bid now would be bid based upon the credits that are currently provided. If you were to redo the study and you wanted to implement that study, then it would ultimately happen in the middle of the contract, and that would ideally require basically potentially a renegotiation.
The only reason I'm asking is it was brought forward to me from folks, and I just wanted to clear it and settle it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you. This is for our attorney. And in hearing your comment regarding that this is, going to be a low price bid, is there any mechanism for us to have flexibility or to have our bidders have flexibility for innovation or things that we have not contemplated?
It's really going to boil down to how the minimum requirements of the bid have been drafted. So there could be some allowance for flexibility. It's hard to kind of speak out of just in the air without knowing specifically what we're talking about. But you can draft your minimum requirements in a way that could allow there to be, some variation.
So
and how as long as the end product is picking up garbage 2 days a week and picking up recycling 1 day a week and things of that nature, there could be some flexibility in how the specs are written.
So could I ask that you work with SWA staff as they're doing this, that language is included where they make their minimums, but then also provide that opportunity if haulers have ways that could help save money, that could be included?
We can look into it. I mean, I know we have something drafted at this point in time, but we can take a look at it.
Thank you.
I have no lights, Mr. Pelowitz. Are we clear on this item for direction?
I think we're clear. We're Exhibit E. We are no amnesty. And we're looking at some language to provide flexibility as to unique approaches.
Suggestions.
Creativity.
Innovation.
Innovation. Innovation. But again, as Mike said, there has to be generally consistent with the bid.
Mm-hmm.
It can't. We don't allow people to, for example, to object to a bid requirement, or not respond to a bid requirement, or not provide specific information and things like that. If someone comes in with a radical deviation that they want to pick up the waste by flying a drone overhead and sucking it up from the streets or something like that, I don't know how we could accommodate that. But I'm just thinking, just throwing something out there. Solid waste is not that innovative, so I guess I'll know it when I see it.
we have the next topic is going to, I think, be a little lengthier. Would my board like to take potentially a 25-minute break to get something to eat? I thought you just needed direction.
So moved.
All in favor?
Do we need to do you want to
Do you want me
read it
to
into the record?
restate the motion? So we are going to proceed forward with service area, with Exhibit E, and no amnesty. And then with the other direction that for innovation to be included based on what staff finds.
And can I add can I just read in what we've recommended so that you can incorporate that into your motion
Sure.
as well? Authorize staff to issue the invitations to bid and request for proposal for franchise collection services, including the pre-qualification requirements, number of service areas, method of award, protest procedures, levels of service, and service area boundaries incorporated therein, as amended based on direction provided by the board as required, and in compliance with Resolution 2020-02 and the Palm Beach County Solid Waste Act, Chapter 2001-331.
I have a first by Mayor Marino, a second by Commissioner Woodward. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Now, back to my board. Would we like to take a quick break, a 25-minute break to get something to eat before we start the next item?
Please.
We will reconvene at 12:25.